as my daughters have gotten older, like when my wife and I would joke all the time, like, what are they going to do? But our kids leave because we were involved with them for a long time. And now that we both enjoy pickleball, we'll play together. We have different guy and girl groups as well, but it just gives us now, I think, a reason to stay connected and stay, to kind of keep on the same, like doing stuff together. Because after a while, like you're so used to doing all your stuff with your kids. And now you really
Yes.
have the opportunity to kind of find something that really brings people together and gives you a purpose.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Pickle Me This. Be sure to subscribe, comment, and like so you'll be notified when new episodes drop every Saturday morning. You definitely don't want to miss them. Also, your support helps other pickleball enthusiasts find us too. Everyone has a story. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Pickle Me This, and I'm your host, Deirdre. And today I'm thrilled to be joined by Jason, the creative mind behind the popular TikTok account Destination Dink. For the past 4 years, he has not only been an enthusiastic pickleball player, but has also been starting to entertain the community with some funny takes on pickleball culture, pet peeves, and those overrated things we all secretly think about, but don't always say out loud. With a background in digital marketing, he's brought a unique perspective to pickleball content creation. Today, we'll dive into his pickleball journey, the friendships he's formed, and how this sport has changed his life. So, Jason, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
I think a good place to get started is tell us what your life looked like before pickleball.
We'll be happy to. I'll start with this. I was one of the guys who kind of joined the sport during COVID, but my wife was probably 2 or 3 years before that. And
Mm.
we had some neighbors who had courts at our house, and she was playing all the time and saying how much fun it was. And I'm like, she kept telling me like its name was pickleball. I'm like, I don't want to play pickleball. Like the name alone was like, I'm so bummed. I can't tell my buddies, hey, Jason, what are you doing? I'm playing pickleball. I get made fun of. So, and even the ladies that she was playing with were like in their, late 50s, 60s. I'm like, what kind of sport is this? So for those 2 years, never played. COVID came, and we have courts at our where I live in our community, private. So she was like, "Jason, I'm gonna get another couple. Let's go. Just give it a shot." So I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna try it. We have nothing else to do. Everything's locked down. So let's go." So we had another couple who had played for a little while as well. So we get out there. They're teaching me the rules, and I'm like, "Okay, okay, let's play." We start playing, and I'm lobbing the balls over there, getting smashed on. I'm like, "This game sucks. Like I don't know how to play it yet. These guys knew how to play it. I didn't." So long story short, we in that little session, and I'm like, I'm more athletic than these guys I'm playing with. How are they beating my butt? So I want to get good. So eventually I recruited about 8 or 10 guys in our community who had not played, but kind of heard about it. And middle of 2020, we all started playing and loved it. Became addicted to it. It was fun. Everyone was like, no one really had the experience because what I found out about this game too is if you play with some guys who are much better or much worse, it's really hard. So having that these 8 or 10 guys that are all learning the game, together was just awesome. And it's a whole new set of friends that we were making. So that's how I got into it, and the rest is history. Can't get enough.
Yeah. Now, when you first started playing with your wife, those first couple of games, besides the smashing, were they like dinking as
Yeah, they
well?
weren't quite dink. They were like, I was really new. They were still somewhat new, and they weren't like pros at all. But they knew a little bit of the dink game, how to do it. But it wasn't the execution of the dink is way harder than just being able to do it. So,
Right.
um, but again, they were teaching the rules and that kind of so forth. But it's again, it took. It's funny with this game too. It probably took only about 6 months to really kinda understand it, and then, at that point on, just trying to get better and kind of perfect some of the different shots is what we're at now, so we've got to the point now where we can actually have some great rallies and again, I joke, we'll talk about it later, but, playing with your spouse, there's always those challenges, so I've learned to tiptoe that line when my wife and I play, so
Seen some of those TikTok videos about it.
well,
So we will
it's funny,
definitely
that
talk
was
about it.
some of the ones that I was making fun of, like, the things that are overrated, but it's one of the things, like, when you can kinda yell at your spouse. I would never yell at a lady I just meet playing if she makes a mistake, but all of a sudden, I poach a few of her shots, and all of a sudden, I get the eyes getting rolled at me, like,
Mhm.
I just did something, so, anyway, but it's just but all the spouses kinda deal with that, I think, too, so that was kind of
Yeah.
it's that were made on that TikTok.
We're always the most critical with the people we love the most, right? And
That's it.
everybody else, we're super nice.
100%, 100%. Well, too, I think too, once and I kinda adjust the whole mindset, when you play with your spouse or someone who's not as good as you, just have fun. Just, make it about, not winning, just kinda having some good rallies and have everyone had a good time, so
Yeah. Actually see that happen with some people. They'll start getting better as they're coming in. Then they only want to play with good people. And then you come people come around to this realization that, you know what? Like there's just fun games. There could be just fun games and then be
100%.
more competitive games too. So
Uh,
you're feeling both ways, right?
100%, 100%. We even in our kind of community here, we'll have like, a lot of the wives will play. We have some of our kids will play, and we've kind of made it a point to like, on holidays, Christmas or 4th of July, we have kind of these themed pickleball events. We have 4 courts out there.
Oh,
Everyone's
that's
welcome.
cool.
You come there, you if it's St. Patty's Day, you're gonna wear green and bring a Guinness and just kinda have a yeah, have a fun time. So that's kind of what we do in our community with we're just having the kind of the relaxed games.
Cool. Is your community open play? Like, for the people that live there? Like, are people always playing and you just put your paddle up, or do you schedule time with people?
Schedule times. We're in a private community, so we have 4 courts, and we have basically an online app that basically you schedule you have 90 minutes per family to play per day.
Okay.
So, yeah, so no paddles up, you play for, for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it works out perfect. And it's
Yeah.
literally, a 2-minute walk from our house.
Yeah, then you don't have to wait, right? There's, like, pros and cons of rec play. Like, I love it because I could just show up without having to plan anything or extra people, but then you have to wait sometimes, so there's definitely
We
pros
have
of
in Carlsbad, there's
reserving.
a place called Point City Park, and it's one of the most popular places, but like you said, it's 4 on, 4 off, you gotta wait between games, it's kinda like
Yep.
for us, we get spoiled, we're playing for, an hour and a half, 2 hours straight, and
Yep.
it's really fun.
Yep. You mentioned that the mood uplift after playing was unexpected. Tell us about that first moment when you realized pickleball was having a real impact on your well-being.
Easy. So when we first started playing too, we just had a conversation with the guys we play with just the other day. We were talking about, what did we do 4 years ago?
Yeah.
What do we do? And we literally sat around like, what were we doing 4 years ago with, 2 hours, 3 hours of our day? And like, we didn't
Mhm.
remember,
Yep.
so what we found out now with this game and all of us have, still have jobs and, we kind of, play on the weekend for sure. Then it's the 5 o'clocks, 5 to 7, in the evenings. But when you go out there, you basically work all day, and now you get to get out and get to release. You get to go exercise. You get to be social with some of your buddies, and you just get to get off and just do stuff. So for us, it was more like that emotional. Like end of the day was like you look forward to it. Sometimes before end of the day, it's like it work's over. Now what? But now it's like you can't wait for work to be over and then go play for a little bit. So it just kind of changes your mindset and your mood. You exercise, and you're just kind of a fun social thing. While we're competitive, it's also social, and we make fun of each other all the time and laugh and joke. So that's kind of how we kind of feel.
Human connection is important. It's really important.
1,000%. You know what, too, I've learned with this is was mid-40s, and I have a group of friends I've always been friends with for a long time. And, you don't start to meet new people as much. I wasn't before pickleball.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now you have a whole new set of people you work with or play with. It's young kids, it's old people, it's middle class, it's different, backgrounds. So it's really, you have a whole new set of friends and social people you kind of hang out with and learn from. So that's been really kind of unexpected for me.
Mhm. Yes.
And I even see these guys now more than I see my core old school friends who I used to see all the time. Now I'm like, "You don't play pickleball, how am I gonna see you as
You're
much?"
out.
Yes, you're out. Well, that's so funny too. I still get teased. I've got the guys who play pickleball who understand it, but all my other friends, old school, who don't play yet, I still get made fun of all the time. And it's hard to defend. One of my TikToks I was talking about, like, sometimes it's hard to defend, especially because they'll see somebody online that's, an older 70, 80-year-old lady that's playing like, oh, it's old person sport, but she's good.
Mhm.
So they don't understand like there's a lot of good people that play this game and it's hard. It's a sport. It's really like it's not what you think about grandmas dinking back and forth. It's really a game.
Right. Right. It's not like tennis where you have to be super athletic to, like, run around the court, and it is very deceiving. You could walk up with an 80-year-old and be like, "Oh, I got this," and then get totally smoked.
I've got many a stories where I thought for sure looking across the court, like, I have a little funny thing. I was talking about nerds. I was kind of making quotes about like these guys kind of walking up with goggles and high socks and knee pads. I'm like, this guy's going to get toasted. And all of a sudden it's 11-2 and he whooped my butt. And I'm like, how did that guy just smoke it? But
Mhm.
they're good. I mean, you can't judge a book by the cover in this game at all.
No, you can't. Like, strategy is way more important than
Oh my gosh.
yes, like, where do you place that ball? Share a story about a particularly memorable game with friends.
Yeah, question. Yeah, I don't know. Memories have really been around that. I mentioned about like these social things with like a Christmas time or 4th of July or Memorial Day weekend. Just being out there and I have 2 daughters who are 20 or will be 20 and just turned 18. And they'll bring some of their friends out there too. It's kind of like they're kind of having fun social with us as well, hanging out with parents, doing certain stuff. So I think that's been more of my memorable kind of like thing, like what I kind of remember outside of just playing with my buddies, like how he kind of bring in other people. And funny story with that too. My parents, I grew up in a small little town in the central part of California. And when I was young, my dad put a basketball court we lived in the country in a couple acres, but he put a basketball court in there. Basically 3 years ago, it was during one of the Thanksgivings, he turned into a pickleball court. So we basically had, yeah, no joke, artificially they painted the lines. It was big enough. And we had my little nephew who was 3 to my dad who's 77, playing out there. So just kind of just does a kind of a lot of cool stuff. And we joked about that being one of the best Thanksgiving. People like can get around,
Mhm.
socialize and, just kind of just do something versus just sitting around.
Right, it's such a multi-generational, like you said, anybody can play,
Yep.
and it's not like basketball courts would have done that.
Exactly. There's no way. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It's just like it's a game of sport that really kind of brings in a lot of different people and everyone can kind of enjoy it.
Yeah. What's your number 1 pet peeve?
Mine's that's easy for me. I'll check on this one too. Is the we have a big joke in our running community is the always out guy, the guy that calls every ball out that is like hits the lines and like three guys see it out and the one guy who's close to it, or sees it in, the other guy sees it out. So we had a funny TikTok on that one as well, where people kind of like everyone was like, oh yeah, we have one of those guys. We know exactly who that
Mhm,
guy is. So
mhm.
the always out guy is kind of a running joke for us because we always, when we were playing and people do that, we're like, "Hey, Leroy, lines are in," like quit calling it out all the time, So anyway, that's the one I would say is probably the most.
Has it been mostly the one person, or is it multiple people?
There's a couple. There's always there's the one that does it the most, and there's like a couple guys that kind of do it a little bit, but I think after you play enough, like you don't want to be known as that guy. No one wants to be known as the always out guy because we're all
Yeah.
talking about him. You're like, stop doing it. Like, it's just a point.
I wonder too, and I don't know if you think this way. I wonder, are they purposely calling it out and lying, right? To like cheat
Yeah.
and win? Or do they just not see it? Like
I
maybe they
think I think you're right, not to interrupt you. I think the whole like, honestly think they think in their mind, they think it's gonna go out or this is gonna be out. Because like, I don't think you see it's in by an inch or two and, like, you call it out. I don't think that, but I think in your mind, if you wanna earn that point, you might, lean on the, being out more than in, but like you said, sometimes you and I've seen this, you've seen those things online that wherever you're at on the court and the ball lands specific certain spots, sometimes
Yes.
you can look in, look out, and, like, it's hard. So,
Yes.
it's
And we play it here such that wherever the ball is out on the person's side, they call it. They call it in or out. And the other side has to respect it.
that's true. That's how we play too.
And there's times the other side will start arguing with you.
Right.
And I am like to a fault honest. I think it's my Catholic upbringing. I'm not so much Catholic anymore, but I'm like, I can't call it. I don't know. And it might have been out, right? But I'm like, I don't know, just like keep playing. I can't make something up. I just can't do it.
No, that's true. That's what you want, especially most time you're playing with your friends. Like I don't play tournaments, so to me, it's not that big of a deal. And we've
Mhm.
all won a ton of games, lost a ton of games. So it's just more kind of funny when the one guy who's always calling it out.
Yes.
So
Yes. Share a story about a failed or embarrassing moment. I feel like these resonate the most with people because everybody wants to make themselves feel like they're not so bad.
the one time I don't play open court or like in like public place because I don't have to, but I was playing one time and I was probably 2 years in. I was thinking I was pretty good, and I got paired up with this. I'm talking. She was probably 22, 23 lady girl that was like a little bit overweight, but like had glasses on. Like I was like, no way. So I was with one of my buddies who thought he was good too, and we play her and one of her partner girls, and we literally got embarrassed, 11-0. Like, and we're like looking around, like, and you would never have thought that. Like, how do these girls? But they had some tennis background, but literally embarrassed us. Like, we're sitting there, like everyone's watching, like, you just lost to two 22-year-old girls. I'm like, we did. We did. It's actually cool to see though sometimes. Like when you see somebody, even older, younger, whatever, they come in and just understand the game because their game was so much better than ours as far as their control. And when they sped up, they know exactly when to make a mistake or capitalize on our mistakes. So I give those girls a lot of credit. They did a really good job of making 40-year-old men look bad.
Nice. What's something about pickleball culture that makes you laugh but also secretly love?
Oh, I think the people who love it as much as we love it, it's just kind of like until you get into that little culture, that community with everybody that literally can't wait to play, and it's like that kind of that uplifting, kind of like you're around people that just it's fun. So I think that's kind of like a thing that I really loved. I didn't expect to because usually you hang out with the other buddies, you don't play. It's just not the same as going in, meeting new people. You're always changing partners.
Mhm.
Playing different styles, so that's always kind of fun. So I think that's just kind of just did not understand how much you'd enjoy kind of meeting new people and kind of being in that environment of everyone likes what you like.
Yeah, it's like a cult.
100%, 100%.
And then you do make fun of it in the beginning. And even I have, adult children too. They're in their 20s and they still make fun of me because they've played with me a few times. They just haven't gotten the bug like myself. So if I'm out at the course for a long time, they're like, "Why? How? Like, what are you doing?"
Every time I'm back, I get home, like, they know exactly where I've been. I've been all sweaty and either yeah, so they know.
Yeah, now my kids don't even, like, really blink an eye about it anymore, but it is kinda funny. They still don't understand, but it's kinda funny.
Yeah, no, it's so fun. I think because my wife played for 2, 3 years before I even thought about playing, and then I started playing, with the couple all of a sudden, boom, boom, and then it just goes. Then it literally just
Yes.
yep.
I was just talking about this with somebody else recently on the podcast. I think pickleball is one of those things you play and you either, like, immediately have the bug and you wanna play all the time, or you just don't care for it. There's, like, no in between. Somebody not gonna start playing and they're like, "Okay, I think I'll play once every few weeks." Like, just doesn't happen, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree, and, like, some of the guys that my other group of friends, I've been trying to kinda get over to play. I still think, though, if you don't if how I felt my first time playing, when I played with that couple that was way better than me and, like, smashing it on me, I'm like, "This game sucks. Like, what am I you know?" So I think that if that's your first experience with it, we have 3 or 4 guys who are really good and you're not, so it's like, it may
Mhm.
not be as fun. So that's why I tell people all the time, you gotta find 3 other people who are in your same boat to learn it together because 'cause it'll take you
Yeah.
6 months and then you'll be just fine with the rest of us. Because I feel like we've kinda plateaued. Like, we were awful, got decent. We're just at that little 4.0 level now. We have fun and, competitive, but still not, I will get my butt kicked by a 5.0 guy, no problems.
Alright, let's talk about Destination Dink, your TikTok account. How did that come to life?
Oh man, so I travel a lot with work. So I'm a big Hyatt hotel guy, and when I was traveling, I got to the itch I wanted to play. So I thought, how cool would it be if I knew places around the country that had pickleball as an amenity at the hotels?
Mhm.
So I thought, and there was a bunch here in Southern California. So I started just filming some videos for people who were looking to find places to play as they came on vacation. Because right now, my wife and I, choose to go on vacation. We're trying to find a place with a court, and even my buddies who are we were all golf trip guys for a long time, and all those guys now play pickleball. And we were just talking about planning a trip out to I think it's called Electric Pickle out in Scottsdale, Arizona, where it's a big, it's like a chicken and pickle, kind of a fun, top golf kind of environment for playing pickleball.
Cool.
Yeah, so basically it's like there's got music, there's courts outside, inside,
Mm.
there's a bar, a restaurant. It's just really kind of cool stuff. So anyway, so this whole destination Dink was like, what if I can just create some content and share it with people? Like anybody's coming to California, I'm going to stay here at the Hyatt downtown because they have a court of a rooftop. So I started. That's kind of where the idea of destination started, and then that got a little bit of traction, nothing crazy. But I was playing, one day with my buddies and like, hey, Rossi, between all your time, why don't you're always making fun of there, having jokes, people laughing. Why don't you make some funny content about pickleball that people can actually
Right?
like relate to? So like, all right, let me give it a try. So literally, I don't know, probably a month ago, I did a little kind of a top 5 overrated things about pickleball. And for some reason, like I woke up, I took posted at nighttime, like on a Tuesday. And I get up in the morning. My daughter was in college. She looks at her phone. She's like, Dad, you seen your account? I'm like, no, why? He's like, I think this one's going to work. You already have like, I don't know how many views it was. She said like 5,000 because most of them were getting like 300. And then it was just kind of started going. So it really just it kind of just took off. And I think it's in the 25-ish thousand, which is not that much for, mostly that stuff. But for this, it resonated.
That's pretty good though, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
resonated. All the jokes kind of resonated. A lot of comments that people like understand because most of it was sarcasm. It was all related to of all my friends, so things that they do. I have one guy that buys a new paddle every single time it comes out. So I'm like, bro, it ain't the paddle. Stop buying new paddles. You're good. You're not gonna get any better. And then one of the jokes is about, the ATP, the around the post. I have one buddy that's always trying the around the post and never gets it. I'm like, stop doing around the post when I'm playing with you. Practice on your own. You're not doing us any favors. And then one of them was with the always out guy and playing with your spouse. So I think those kind of resonated and people are like wanted to come. Oh my God, I know exactly what you mean. So
Mhm.
that's kind of that started. So I've been doing a few more of that stuff and some of it have been fun. And I think people kind of enjoy the humor. You have to play the game to understand what these jokes are, but I
Yes.
think people can relate to it.
Yes, people can relate to it because 'cause they're all pain points, right? I feel like when you hit out a pain point, people are like, "Yes," and then they have to, like, add their 2 cents to it.
100%, 100%. So I'm still my goal with this is that A, and have fun with it. I told myself I give myself a year. I've been a few months in, post some content. I still want to go showcase new places to play because for me, as I travel around, if someone posted a place in Nashville that had courts, I'd stay there.
I know, I think that's fantastic. People are
Yeah,
looking. I
yeah,
think a lot of us pickleball players automatically pack our paddles wherever we go.
absolutely. Well, even us, like even my guy trips on my when I take trips with my wife, like we always like we're at the point now. I don't want to lay by the pool for 2 days straight. I'd rather go play in the mornings, have a little break, play in the afternoons, and it's just a game too. It's just I don't know. You feel like you're exercising. You feel like you're outside. You're doing stuff. So it just feels like it's fun.
Yes. Yes, 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 and unlike a golf vacation, 'cause I used to do golf vacations too, you don't have to book tee times ahead of time, right? Like, for the whole day. Like, you could do pickleball for a couple hours and go do something else for the whole rest of the day. You
Uh,
still have time.
I have one of my TikToks basically talked about comparing golf versus pickleball, and I said the same thing because for the most part, unless you're my buddy who buys new paddles, pickleball's pretty inexpensive. You know, you
It
buy
is.
one paddle, a few balls, and you're playing. Luckily we play for free on our courts, but even if you're paying a $10 at a facility or even
Mhm.
all the parks that are free,
Yep.
I think it's a very inexpensive sport when you compare it to golf. Because I was joking about this, like it's $150 green fees.
Yes.
You're gonna buy beers on the course. You're gonna go drive, and it'll be 6, 7 hours, and it costs you $300.
Yes.
And there's a high probability you could suck that day and shank balls. So
Yes.
now you're having a good time. If you didn't
Yes.
play well, I spent $300, and it's 8 hours later.
And then just the time commitment, like door to
Yes,
door. I used to say door to door for golf. By the time you drive to the course and you warm up and then you get there and then you play and you come home, it's the whole day. It's the whole day.
no, no, it's true. And I still enjoy playing golf. I don't do it nearly as much, but I
Yeah.
just when the Destination Dink kind of came about, I wanted to find new places to play because it's so exciting
Mhm.
to go take a vacation and
Sure.
play in Scottsdale where you can hit the pool after a while, but you can go play in the mornings or night and just kind of have fun with
You could add content. You could find places that have both
it.
pickleball and golf.
Yeah, no, and there are. I mean, they're out there. I mean, the Scottsdale place that I just mentioned, I was at. It has an awesome courts and they have a beautiful golf course right there. It's all part of the whole
Oh,
Gainey Ranch.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you could do both. We talked about your overrated content on your TikTok account because I saw that too and I thought that was pretty funny. Um, what other content have you had fun making?
Man, again, I joke. I love going out to our courts, even days I'm not going to play. I go up there to kind of watch buddies play. I'm the guy that kind of not heckles, but I'm like, I'll be the commentator. And, when someone hits the ball in the net, I'm like, hey, but it's supposed to go over the net, not under it, like little jokes like that. So I still try to find new creative ways of like things that we can kind of rely or take from the game, just kind of make
Mhm,
it relatable to people. So,
mhm.
I'm new into this, but I always take notes of myself, the little things that I kind of see on the court that I can kind of like, make a little joke of, or just,
You should. You collect stories,
yeah,
to
good
tell.
stories, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and I just you see all the different people who, like me, who kinda really kinda taken to the game, and now that I felt we were more competitive or tried to be more competitive in the first couple years playing. Now we played so much, you just want good games. You wanna have some good rallies and, you
Mhm.
know have the laughs afterwards and, post some funny content, so
Yeah,
that's the goal
absolutely.
for now. We're gonna keep it going and see, but, it's a
Yeah.
game that has too many fun things about it to not share.
For sure. I also heard that about creating content, you have to be diligent and you have to be consistent over a period of time before you really break through. So, yes, keep going.
That's a great point too, because one of my buddies who does his wife does this is like he said the same thing that every day you gotta do it. I was always under the impression I see a lot of dumb things on TikTok, and I didn't want to be that dumb guy that posts for 2 seconds and stuff. Like
Same.
I kind of wanted to have more of like substantial content.
Mhm.
But he was saying too, that's great, but you still have to have some type of content to keep your kind of name in the algorithm and kind of keep people kind of like checking
Yes.
in. Because I've always said this, but when I follow people online, I follow them because they have some cool stuff. My balance is trying to find interesting enough content that engages, that helps people like in our community, whether you're trying to find a place to play or
Mhm.
you want to laugh after you leaving the courts because the hours out guy happened at your court that day, things like that.
Right.
So
Right. And then you connect with that. Yes.
exactly.
You spent your career in digital marketing. How has that background influenced what you're doing now in terms of your pickleball content?
Yeah, like the next stage of my life. I've been in the corporate world for 25 years and had a great run. I've enjoyed it. But I've also always wanted to kind of branch off and kind of do something. I've always worked for somebody else, in the corporate world. I've always thought it'd be fun to kind of start your own side of the little business. I work with a lot of big advertising brands, so I understand how they market, what their goals and objections are as they're kind of reaching audiences. And I would love to be able to help kind of the pickleball community, kind of build like a network. Because I think there's one I've seen that's about 1.5 million. I think it's the Pickleball Kitchen, one of those guys that they do a really
I
good
think
job.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. But be able to help, whether those guys or, if we ever build up our platforms enough where I can like, hey, I can go to, Michelob Ultra and they can be the sponsor of, active, healthy, whatever
Mhm.
whatever the brand may be. Or Toyota wanted to get involved with, this community because it's big. I mean, we saw this past Super Bowl with the Super Bowl commercial about the pickleball. I think that was Mick Ultra or Ultra.
It was one of the beers.
Yeah, so it's mainstream, and I know a lot of people, even the guys that don't play it, they know it's there. It's a cool audience, so I think that there could be something down the road where we can kinda just help build this sport overall and get more brands involved with it.
Yeah. What I'm curious, how do you see digital marketing changing over time? So what I mean by that is gosh, for years it was like commercial. I feel like it was SEO driven, but now we're in a different world. So how do you see it changing over time?
It's going to change a lot. So as AI rolls out as well, and like
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
all that thing what that platform can do and how people buy media, I
Yeah.
still think, having a niche audience that, whether you're a TikTok person, if you have, as one of my friends, she's got this beautiful, audience that she can actually market to. I think that's going to be huge still and going to grow. I follow a few of these guys on, all the social platforms, and they say always there's people doing what we're doing because it's going to work. And if I'm a marketer, I'd rather reach out to Jason, who's got, 200, 300,000 people in a demographic they're looking for versus trying to kind of spray and pray on a platform that's like a news site or just kind of,
Yeah.
and I still think as our sport grows, I mean, there's only gonna be more opportunity. Whether you partner with a paddle company or, there's so many different products out there, all the apparel stuff that I still think there's a huge market for. One of the things like I've always wanted, I don't know how much you know about golf and some of the platform, but what Travis Matthew did to golf, they kind of launched a brand that was kind of hip and fun and kind of cool. Kind of, it wasn't the old school golf Titleist or TaylorMade brands. It was this cool new apparel company. And I still think that we can do ourselves some favors. I still think I said before, I literally can't stand the name. It just discredits how good this game is. So I wanted to kind of think of brands that would be built that would be people want to be, that's such and such. That's a cool brand. It's associated with pickleball. I want to do that, like Travis Matthew did. So I think down the
Hmm.
road that could be kind of a cool to kind of keep the non-stereotype, because we get teased about, the name. One of my TikToks was about the naming conventions in this sport. The kitchen, the dink, all these things that are just, the Ernie, the Bert. I'm like, these are so bad. Like if there was
That's
some
actually true. Yeah.
right. So it's like if these names were cooler, like my guys would make fun of me. One of my TikToks, I said, name the Bert and the Ernie, the Michael Jordan and the Kobe Bryant. Make it some cool names.
Yeah.
Rename the
Yeah.
kitchen to something different. So I know it's not going to happen, but it's
It
on my
does have
goal.
some silly rules. Like, I wonder how they came up with the rules that they did, right? Like, this is the kitchen. Don't step in. It was probably some joke that started. I convinced.
It could have been. And in the kitchen, I don't get the kitchen. My very first time playing, when my wife and the couple explained it to me, like, oh yeah, why is this called the kitchen? Like, like what's a dink? Like this, I don't know. This was like some wasn't cool names. That was one of the reasons too. I'm like, this game stinks. I don't want to play it. But anyway,
Right. Even
I'm
the
here now.
scoring,
What's
right?
that?
Even
And
the
the scoring.
scoring, you're just like, "What?" It
Yeah,
actually
on
took
the
me a
one, on
few
the
games.
two. Oh, that took me forever to learn too. I know.
I know, I'm like, "What is this?" So, yeah, I don't know, whoever maybe they were drinking some
It could have
Michelob
been.
Ultras the
It
day
could have been.
they they made up the game on their driveway or whatever the story was.
It could have
Um,
been.
tell us about some of the most meaningful friendships you've developed through pickleball.
One of the things I've didn't expect, like I have now a whole group of friends I didn't have 4 years ago. And at the age I was at, I was like, you kind of have your core friends, you're kind of happy with that, didn't really kind of put yourself out there. Now, all the guys we have now, I've literally some of my best friends are guys now I travel with. We go to different vacations together and play. And it's just like again, it's I see these guys more than I saw my old school friends. I still talk to them, but these guys I'm seeing on a daily basis, and it's just I didn't expect that at 45 to be able to go find these new friends, and these guys are awesome. And they having the same interests of us and doing the same like stuff. It's been so fun and
Yeah.
unexpected.
And it carries off outside of the pickleball courts, just like you said, right? Like, you're doing
100%.
vacations and stuff. Do you do vacations? Do you have, like, a guys group and then, like, you also have, like, a couples group that you hang out with your wife too? Like,
Of
do you have
course, yeah, yeah. We'll do family stuff. I mean, well, yeah, we'll do both. I mean, I'm gonna say guys trip. We'll take 1, 2 a year. It's for 2 days to go to Palm Springs or someplace to play. Yeah, little stuff like that. Then my wife, but lately over the last, we go to Lake Tahoe a lot, and there's a Hyatt in Lake Tahoe, and they've got this beautiful like probably
I
12.
love Lake
Oh,
Tahoe.
it's
Oh,
awesome. I always one of my posts is on there. It's literally awesome. It's hotels, the Hyatt. You can walk across to the lake, and then right behind the Hyatt's these like 16 pickleball courts that are beautiful in the mountains and just really cool spots. So
is that
we're always
north or south? Where is that in Lake Tahoe?
it's Incline Village, which is like North Tile, North,
Okay.
not South,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. I tell people all the time, and even like so we'll take a family trip and couples, and my guys go up there once a year as well too. So
Nice.
for
Nice.
us, it's like an hour flight, so it's a pretty close trip.
Do you have any rituals or anything that have started with your friends? Like, I don't know, like weekly such and such or anything like that?
Well, we have a text string that we always get on after we play, and everyone's whoever lost that day or who won, whoever got someone get hit in the chest pretty hard. Like so, we go banter back and forth pretty good. And if that day you didn't win a game, you're going to hear about it.
Nice.
But it's all in fun. So everyone, what goes around comes around. There's days you play well. There's some days you don't. So that's kind of the text. The guy text string is pretty funny.
A little trash talking
That's what it is,
is
exactly,
good for the soul.
exactly.
How has the social aspect changed your everyday life?
You know, I don't feel the need to do much else. It's kind of funny. Like, my daughters are just my oldest, their youngest will be leaving to college next year. So we'll be empty nesters. And I think that I found, I never was a big going out to, bars and that kind of stuff. But like now I don't feel like, my wife and I'll do our stuff, but like she'll play with her friends on one court. We'll play with our friends on another court. So I'm almost like all the other social things we used to do. Like I get my fix here.
Yeah.
I think that's how it's kind of changed us. And it's fun. Like, it's just like, I don't miss what I used to do. 'Cause I don't remember what I used to do. I literally, 4 years, I don't know what we did.
And
I
you're
know.
active and you're outside and
Yeah.
you're social, like, it's definitely a great thing.
Yeah, and the cool thing about where you live, we don't have indoor courts. I mean, we have some, we don't good use them. We have out, our weather here is so nice.
Your weather's perfect in
Yeah,
San
we get to
Diego.
play. We don't give a train. We get to play literally all year round.
Mhm. Yes. Looking back on your 4 years, what surprised you the most about your journey?
I wish I would have started earlier. My wife tried to get me into the game, 3 years before it happened. I just kind of blew it off. I think that kind of, you know, I didn't expect it to be as much fun as it is, and kind of what it provided me about, with friends, with your wife, with your kids. It's had that different engagement that you're kind of out. Everyone's kind of happy and doing things that they enjoy doing and playing, and it just seemed like a. I didn't expect that. I literally didn't know that's exactly what was going to come of this because it was a game that's just it got such a bad rep for so long, and then all of a sudden these really good guys come out. People follow the Ben Johns of the world, and people know these guys can play. It's a fun game, and old people can play it, young people can play it, and so could people like us. So
Mhm.
unexpected.
Yeah, and you don't have to turn pro or
No,
anything like that. It's just totally you could totally be recreational, have so much fun.
I joke all the time. Like even the guys, and again, most of us are in that little 4.045, but we not none of us have played in the tournament. We're like we have more fun. Like I don't need to go. I don't. I mean, maybe one day I will, but like for us, it's just more fun playing. In that social environment where you know your buddies and just a good time.
Yes. I've played in a couple of tournaments, and I don't know if I'm gonna go again. Maybe
How do you
just for
like it?
something charity.
Like it?
You know what it is? When you sign up, usually it's like for a whole weekend and you don't know what time slot you're gonna get. One time we had a weather delay and you just spend the whole weekend waiting, and some of them are double elimination and it can happen fast. So said to myself, I'd much rather just go play at the courts that weekend when I want to and not spend the whole weekend waiting. And
I'm
although
sure.
it does put stress on you too to be like to do well, it was still fun because we won once or twice. I don't know, but in the end, I think I'm just gonna stick with rec play.
Yeah. How was it? Like, was it like people very competitive? Was it very? In-
But yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Also, too, a lot of people sandbag when they
Yeah.
register and, like, lower themselves into the next lower bracket, and that's no fun either.
100%.
So, I'm glad I did it, but I don't know if I'll do it again. Only for charity. Something really good
Yeah, it's
charity
fun.
event, I'll do it.
Yeah, perfect.
If you could tell your pre-pickleball self one thing the sport would bring to your life, what would it be?
I don't know. I keep thinking back, like when, as my daughters have gotten older, like when my wife and I would joke all the time, like, what are they going to do? But our kids leave because we were involved with them for a long time. They were,
Mhm.
just going to be out of the house. And we looked at like, what are we going to do? And now that we both enjoy pickleball, we'll play together. We'll play. I said, we have different, guy and girl groups as well, but it just gives us now, I think, a reason to stay connected and stay, to kind of keep on the same, like doing stuff together. Because after a while, like you're so used to doing all your stuff with your kids, and now that you really
Yes.
have the opportunity to kind of find something, a game that really kind of brings people together and kind of, gives you a purpose.
Oh, it totally, right? Like, your whole identity becomes around your kids, and you're just so busy taking
Yeah,
care of them, and then work, the
yeah,
2 together, and like you said, you're like, "Then now what? Now what do I do?"
yeah.
But yes, and it kinda makes you feel like a little kid, like you're at recess again. I don't know.
That's so true. It's 100%. Like we get giddy when we get ready to play, and it's like it's go time. We're warming up, get the music on. Like you just feel like you're live. You're like, oh, let's, because
Yes.
before this, I never like there was as an adult, I didn't have that anymore. Yeah,
Yes.
when you're like in your 20s, you're still playing rec basketball and whatever else. But like even golf never got that. I never felt giddy playing golf.
Mhm.
Hey, it's hard and sometimes it's individual sports. You just kind of doing your own stuff. But this one is like it's just like there's so many every time you have like an awesome point or some game that goes, you know, 15-13. It's just like you finish that game, like, man, that was fun. And just like you never had it before. I didn't.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it totally reminds me of, like, recess as a kid, like, because 'cause you're with all your friends, you're outside, you're playing some games, you're laughing. Yeah. It just
Exactly. And for
reminds me of
us,
that.
like, you find that good group of guys that we can make fun of each other, and it's all in good fun, but it just, you leave that day feeling like, yeah, end of the day was great.
Yes. What's your favorite part of connecting with the broader pickleball community through your content? Like us, we just met over TikTok, right?
100%. Yeah, I always wanted to try to find people like who are new, starting the same out like me. And even though I've been in digital marketing advertising, I know the space pretty well, but like I've never really branched out like this. But I've never really had something I was really passionate about. Like I really wanted to do. I love golf, but I wasn't a great golfer. And I'm decent at pickleball, and I'm not definitely not a 5-0 guy, but I just there's so many people like me that in this group that have the same type of like aspirations to kind of continue to get better, but have fun with
Yes.
it, meet new people. So I think that was just kind of where I was like, kind of the direction I went. And if I can create some of this content to make people laugh and get people out to try the game or get people to go, make fun of their friends or have a joke, or when they see or
Yeah.
read some or hear some of my content and they said, "Oh yeah, that's what the guy was talking about, the always out guy. That's him." Like so anyway, that kind of stuff. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to continue to kind of get new ideas and keep people engaged.
That's
Having
good.
a little success with a couple of those videos was kind of encouraging. So I didn't know people understood like my sense of humor is my sense of humor. Like some people like it, some people don't. And that one just kind of showed you like, all right, these guys get my jokes. So it's kind of fun.
I know.
Yeah.
Has anybody recognized you out and about yet?
A few I never told. So this is funny too. I never even told my wife. I mean, she knows now, but like when I first started this, because one of my buddies who his wife does it, she's like, Don't tell anybody. Just start doing it. Just start doing it. So I didn't post it out like not one of my old friends know I'm doing this or my old school guys. The guys I play with slowly got to see it. So they know I'm going to do it. They'll follow me. Uh, Believe it or not, my daughter, who's at Cal Poly, one of her roommate or friends at Cal, her mom had knew who I was, who saw one of my TikToks. So she's like, "Wait, is that your dad that does that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's my dad." So she saw that. So I wasn't there, but like my daughter said, "Dad, this lady is a friend of
See, there
mine."
you go.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's just fun. I like people enjoy it. That's awesome. And again, I hope to share some of the cool spots that people can go visit and because I'd love to see more of that kind of stuff myself.
Right? Any other stories to share before we wrap up?
I think you got me. In 6 months, I hope to have more stories. Man, I can come back and tell you what's going on. I could thank the wife for getting me involved. I should have done it earlier, but it was just never the game. As I said, if anybody could help change the name for the game to something different, I think that'd be so helpful. But for right now, we'll keep with pickleball and see where it goes.
Yes. And hey, better late than ever, right?
No,
You're
exactly.
here now.
Yeah. Do you think people? Let me ask you this question: people you talk with, does anyone else complain about me, the name of the sport, or people just kind of accepted it and that's just is what it is?
I think people have accepted it. People
Yeah.
don't really mention it, the name of it, but some people have mentioned that in the beginning when they first heard about, like, what is that?
Yes.
Or it just has been associated with retired elderly folks for so long.
Yeah. No,
And I
exactly.
was in that camp. I was like, I don't want to play that sport.
100%. That's exactly what it. Exactly.
So
We'll change
yeah,
that.
but nobody's complained about the name yet. At least not
Yeah.
yet. Or at least not to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they haven't done it yet though.
Right, right.
So all right, Jason, thanks for
Awesome.
coming on and
All right.
best of luck with Destination Dink. And where can people follow you?
Just Destination Dink, Destination_Dink. Right now it's mostly TikTok. I have a little bit on Instagram, but for the most part, TikTok was the audience I think enjoyed it a little bit more. That content there is kind of more engaging than what I feel with what I kind of want to do. So right
Right.
now it's TikTok for the most part.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next time when a new episode drops each Saturday. If you like this episode, be sure to leave us a like, and we'll see you out on the courts. Bye.